Hey everybody, this is Sean Ferrer, the culturally woke Republican. This is Monday's edition that I'm actually doing on Tuesday because guess what? I just couldn't get to it. But we do have a whole bunch of fun facts to actually get with. One thing I did want to bring to your attention, if you're watching these videos and you do like what you hear, or if you dislike what you hear, please leave me a comment. I will respond. I actually enjoy debating with the left, and also, I would have to say, even debating with the far right, and, talking with them as well. I actually spoke to a libertarian Republican as of recent. Conservatives, we call those Republicans squishy Republicans. Because they're basically, they believe in Republican values, but the problem with them is their idea of Republican values is, guess what, there's a 6-foot fence, and whatever you do on your side of the fence, I don't care. As long as it doesn't come over on my side of the fence, we're good. Yeah. They also, sometimes talk about leftist values, things of that nature, and they just kind of concede to them. They don't believe in them, they say they don't believe in them, but they just concede. Okay, and that brings us to our first topic of the day. Once again, like I said, hit that subscribe button. Like this video. It helps. Makes me feel better anyways. Okay. My first topic is Gavin Newsom is being recalled in California as governor of California, which I believe is a really good move. He's an extremely horrible Democratic governor. He's wanted to run for presidency for quite a long time, but he always seems to be pushed in the muck, and I think a lot of that is because of his own doings. I mean, he handled the COVID crisis horribly, and I think that's really where he's getting a lot of backlash as governor of California right now. But regardless of the fact, he is being recalled. Okay, there's 2 steps to being recalled as a governor. And I don't believe he's actually going to lose. I think he's actually going to remain as governor of California, but that's my own prediction. Okay, and the reason why, his biggest competition at this point is Katlyn Jenner is going to run as a Republican in the state of California to oppose Newsom. Now, I don't understand how Republicans can actually get behind this candidate for the simple fact that Republicans usually believe in conservative views, or then they tend to have a libertarian side to them, things of that nature. But I don't see how Republicans are going to be able to get behind this candidate. Okay, the only way we could actually, and I heard another Republican actually make this statement, and I really don't remember their name offhand, but I will say that whichever name this is, I quote, the only way we could get behind Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner is to have a committee or organization built to state Republicans for Bruce. Bruce would have to basically, even though now he probably looks like more of a woman than a man, he would have to give up the pronouns of calling himself a woman. He would have to go back to Bruce and stop wearing the skirts and, the dresses and things of that nature. That's not being homophobic. That's Republican conservative values. If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. Biology tells everything. So, that being said, I really don't see how this candidate is going to work out. But, can't wait to see how it's going to play out, though. It's going to be fun. For someone like myself that basically studies politics and news, it's going to be great. I'm going to watch this, intently. Because I want to see how this is going to play out. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that, I have something against, the only part of transgenderism that I actually have against it okay, is the idea that I believe it's a mental disorder. It's not true. Like, it's a delusion. It's, you know what I mean? It's a man saying that, you know what, I feel like a woman on the inside, so I'm just going to say that I'm a woman, regardless. That's a lie. You're telling it to yourself, and then you're making other people around you use specific pronouns in order to, like, incent the lie in your mind. The delusion. So, in other words, what you're asking of someone like myself is to basically make me indulge your mental disorder fantasies, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's basically what it sounds like to me. So basically, you're making me look at you and go, you know what, I understand that you have a mental disorder, but I'm still going to call you by these pronouns because it'll make you feel a little better. That's not how this works. Or at least not on my end. So, you know, that being said, you know what I mean, I'm not going to really touch too much on Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, and what his pronouns are supposed to be. I'm assuming he's supposed to be called a woman. I mean, no, I don't see that. All 23 chromosomes in that man's body prove that he's a man, aside from a few sperm cells that if he impregnated a woman, there's a possibility that a daughter could come out of it. Okay? That's all that's left. That's it. In my mind, that's biology. That's the way it works. Okay? So, you know, you can call me what do they call it now? Xenophobe, or no, that's from people in other countries. I guess I'm homophobe. I guess I mean if that's the label, no, I don't agree with it. Sorry, I agree with biology. You know what? The left is always saying we need to follow the science. Well, guess what? I'm following the science right now, and gender theory makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, and you know what? On another episode, I'll actually go into that. And I'll actually tell you guys who started gender theory. It was actually started way back, like many decades away. Okay, like back in like the 50s. Okay, that's where gender theory started. And now it's escalated to this. Okay, let's move on. Michigan has actually recently extended its mask mandates to include 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. Everywhere. Like, they have to wear these masks everywhere. School, public buildings, outside. They're on the playground, they have to wear masks. What have we become? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, first of all, I do want to go on record by saying, and I quote myself, okay, if you are sitting in your car by yourself, no pet, no nothing, by yourself, you have the windows up, and you're wearing a mask, we know who you voted for already. You didn't need the Biden sticker. Okay? That is complete sheepish stupidity to me. The idea that somebody could think and be so scared of COVID-19, like they're so paranoid that they are in their car by themselves with the windows up wearing a mask. You are sheep. That's what you are, grazing in the field somewhere, just doing what you're told. You know, it's time to come in. Well, guess what? The dog or, you know, the shepherd comes and brings you in. You know, no big deal. That is absolute. First of all, the whole entire point of this is so stupid on its face that I can't even, like, wrap my mind around it. If any of the people that are watching this have had children, which I have, I've had 2. Okay, and I've been around many others throughout my life. Okay, if you think you're going to get a booger-ridden, saliva-drooling 2-year-old to wear a clean mask all day long, everywhere that child goes, you think that's going to work? then apparently you are not a parent. Apparently you have never experienced 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. That is an age where, one, they are extremely experimental, they are extremely curious, they're touching everything. I mean, 2-year-olds put stuff in their mouth constantly. Okay, I mean, this is not rocket science, guys. This is like straight up just parenting. This is the way it's gone through all of human history. This is how you actually experience sensations and ideas when you're 2, 3, and 4. That's how you learn things, is by tangibly touching things, putting them to your eyes, your mouth, you smell things, things of that nature. These are fundamental characteristics that you build as a toddler. Any parent that is going to allow their child to be 2, 3, or 4 years old and make them wear a mask everywhere they go, first of all, we already know by statistics, okay, the younger generation, children, do not really get affected. Yeah, there's been a few cases, but do not really get affected by COVID-19. So, that's the reason why the CDC has already said in the past, we don't really need, young children to wear the mask. Not only that, but it actually has come out that the CDC has also said that it is possible that breathing in your own carbon monoxide that you're supposed to expel can eventually make you sick. Do we really want to do that to 2, 3, and 4-year-olds that really don't have much of an immune system to begin with? I would say that would be mundane at best. It's one of the things that I pride myself on where I live in Florida, is the idea that I've noticed around where I live, people have just basically given up on the damn thing. We're just like, you know what, there's enough people vaccinated at this point. We're good. Because it is a proven fact. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And guess what? If you're vaccinated and I'm not, okay, which I don't plan on doing, okay, guess what? You're not a danger anymore either. And it's not the idea that I'm like, oh God, I'm against the vaccine. I really don't see a purpose for me to get it. I'm 41 years old. I'm in pretty damn good health. My son has already had it and recovered in a matter of a day. It was a day. He had a fever, which he normally burns high fevers for any sickness, common cold. 103. Been doing it his whole life. Okay? He caught COVID, tested positive. 101 fever was the highest he got. Okay, and that was for, I think 6 hours. Okay, had a little bit of fatigue where he, kind of moped around for a day. The next day, back to normal. So, I don't need statistics to prove to me exactly what this does to children. Okay, but the idea, I am going against the idea that, no, I do not believe 2, 3, and 4-year-olds should be mandated to wear masks outside or anywhere. For what? So, with that, I do want to get to our third topic for today, because I have 6, and this is going to be a long one. But our third topic is definitely going to take a lot of wind, so I'm going to be right back, and you can hang out. Alright, folks, I'm back. This is Sean Ferrer, the culturally woke Republican. I do want to get on our third topic, and our third topic for me is definitely going to hit home, and I'm going to tell you guys why, okay? And I have no shame. I'm not embarrassed by anything that I'm about to say, but I am going to read exactly what I've written as far as notes are concerned and tell you why I believe the way I believe, okay? First of all, apparently, by statistics in this country, because of the narrative that the Democrats or the left has been pushing, there's a police shortage in the United States, in major cities. Major cities. Like, big cities. I'm not talking about, Miami. Miami's a pretty big city, but nothing compared to New York. nothing compared to Philadelphia. These are where the police shortages are coming from. Cops are actually leaving in droves from New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. These are not the cities that we want the police to not be in. Okay? You know, as the Democrats push their narrative that the police violence, okay, and then they also push this other thing, abolish the police. Okay. Let me ask you this. Okay? Do you enjoy the idea, and I know I do, okay? Do you enjoy the idea that I'm recording this on a phone right now, okay? But I enjoy the idea that even if my phone service was canceled, okay, I can still dial 911 on this phone from anywhere I am, and 911 will answer. And a police officer will come and help me if I'm in trouble, okay? I enjoy that feature in life. Okay, what happens when you dial 911? Nobody answers. You're in real trouble. Like, there's no way for you to combat this trouble. What happens? What do? Do you go back to like primal instincts and just, I don't know, find a bat and kill your assailant? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, like, basically scar yourself mentally for the rest of your life? All because you wanted to believe in some leftist view to defund or abolish the police? So now they're not around. What do you do now? Nobody knows. Because they've never had to experience that. When you call 911, I don't care what state you live in the United States. You call 911, they answer. Okay? What I think is really funny is because of this, people are starting to leave blue states and go to red states. You wanna know why? Because we have police. We support our citizens. We make sure that our citizens are safe. Okay, the state of Florida under Ron DeSantis is outstanding. We're killing it down here. So, the other thing that the Democrats are trying to push on this one subject, which just makes me like baffled, is the idea that actually it's the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, they're actually saying that, you know what, the way to reform the police is to end qualified immunity. So basically what that is it's like an immunity that the officer cannot be sued by a criminal. Okay, like say you put the handcuffs on me too tight and it bruised my wrist. Well, now I can file a lawsuit against you. That's what that protects that officer from. You can sue the department, but you can't sue the actual officer. How many cops do you really think? Do you realize that in Philadelphia, and this is recently just reported, okay, they used to have anywhere between 16,000 and 20,000 applicants a year to be on the Philadelphia Police Department. Guess how many applicants they've had last year? 2,000. 2,000. What happens? Because only the most qualified applicants get put onto the police force, right? And the program, from what I've read, is 10 months for that police force. The Philadelphia Police Force trains their officers for 10 months. And if you graduate, great, you're on the force. If you don't graduate, yeah, tough luck. Okay? But at the same time, okay, if the Philadelphia Police Department was getting at least 20,000 applicants as of 2 years ago, every year, consecutively. And now, they're only getting 2,000 applicants. How many of those people, because remember, the Philadelphia Police Department can only employ so many people. Okay? So much, they only have funding for so much law enforcement. Okay? So, for a fact that out of those 20,000 applicants, it narrowed down to what? 30, 40, maybe 50 a year that got hired. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of guys retiring and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys quitting, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So let's do all the math here. So if there were only 50 qualified applicants that were chosen for police academy and graduated. Let's just throw that number in there. Let's just say all 50 actually made it all the way. Okay. And that was out of 20,000 applicants. How many people do you think are going to be completely qualified for police academy out of 2,000? Probably not many. And the police department in Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey, like Newark, places like that, yeah, police are leaving their departments in droves. How do you think these cities are actually going to contend with criminal violence once the police have basically been abolished in those cities? How do you think that that's going to work? It's not. Now, I did say that I would say something to basically solidify my idea why I believe in the police departments. I believe that every city, every town needs a police department. It's the way it works. Okay? One, I'll start out by saying I have a child. Okay? Yes, I want police in my neighborhood. I want to make sure that my son ever comes up missing or something happens to him or something like that, justice is going to be served. We're going to find him, we're going to protect him, and things of that nature, far beyond what I can do for myself. Now, that being said, I've been arrested myself multiple times in my past. Okay? It still doesn't make me go, I think we should abolish the police department. By any means. It still didn't make me go, I think we should defund the police department. If anything, I think we should put more cops on the street in these horrible cities that have such a horrible murder and crime rate. I mean, since all of this movement started, like the city of Portland, people are leaving the city of Portland. I'm surprised there's not caravans that are already videoed on the highways. That's how fast they're leaving. Because guess what? The Portland Police Department has basically just been decimated. There's I don't know how many cops there is, but Portland's a pretty big city. And, if they had, say, 250 cops on the streets, and now it's decimated down to 100, yeah, Portland's not a great place to live right now. People wonder why blue states actually get decimated in economics. The reason why is because you don't care about your citizens enough to protect them. You allow riots to go on in your cities. You allow these violent protests to do. In Portland, for the mayor of Portland to just allow a specific group to just take over a certain section of the city. Police aren't allowed in there. Nobody's allowed in there. It's a quarantine, whatever the hell they call it, zone. Seriously? If I was the mayor of that city, those barricades would have been knocked down the first day, and I would have been like, no, you are unlawfully here. You can go back to your house, or we'll take you to jail for trespassing on other people's property. Come on. We need to seriously wake up. If these things are going to be allowed, it's like, where's our head at? I know I like being safe. I like to know that my house is safe. I'd like to know that my son is safe. I'd like to know that my family is safe. And I know for a fact that, honestly, I can provide a specific level of safetiness to my household and my son and, things of that nature. But, you know what? When shit really hits the fan, guess who you're calling? 911. Yes, I need a police officer over at my house immediately. Yep, we are dispatching police to your location immediately. There you go. Imagine one day that you would make that phone call and nobody, or how about this? Somebody would answer, but you'd be put into a queue and told that you have to wait 7 minutes when you're hiding in your closet and there's some assailant nut job in your house with a gun trying to find you to kill you. And it takes 7 minutes for the 911 operator to pick up. So guess what? It's going to take another, 30 to 40 seconds at least for him or her to figure out what the hell's going on and dispatch police to your location. And then, you know what? Guess what? There's not a lot of cops. So who knows when they show up? By that time, you're dead. That dude would have already found you, or that girl, it doesn't matter, male or female. But they would have found you by then. You'd be dead. They would have already left. Then the police show up and they basically start doing the murder investigation, and they probably don't have a whole lot of clues, because guess what? There's probably not a whole lot of detectives still on the force. I don't know. I guess I'll get to our next topic, but I think the whole idea of police reform and police abolishing the police is probably the stupidest thing I've heard from the left as of late. I'm not going to say ever, but as of late. Okay? My next topic, and I'm only going to touch on this pretty short. Lindsey Graham was asked about racism in the United States. Okay, and he says America is actually not a racist country. And he actually gives two examples of this. Okay, one, we elected a Afro-American president for 2 terms. It's 8 years. 8 years. Okay, and now we have a half Afro-American, or I don't know what you would, African-American. I don't know what they want to be called anymore. I don't even know. A black American. I don't know. But she's half black and half Native American. So, and she's the vice president. So I don't understand how our systems are racist. I don't get that. I mean, if a black man can get all the way to the top of the system for 8 years, how is our systems racist? It makes no sense. But Lindsey Graham is getting a whole lot of heat from this. It makes no sense to me. It's like, where is it? As I've said, just like Ben Shapiro has said, Michael Knowles has said, Matt Walsh has said, Andrew Klavan has said, Steven Crowder has said, the conservative twins have said. I mean, these are all predominant conservative speakers, okay? And they've all said the same thing that I've said. If you can show me the evidence of systemic racism, I will stand right next to you and fight it. I have no problem with it. But without evidence, I'm going to look at you and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. I don't see it. If I don't see it, well, then I don't understand it. Because you can't understand something that you don't see the facts in front of your face. I mean, yeah, you can speculate. Yeah, you can form all the opinions you want. But at the end of the day, I mean, in order to actually understand it, you have to know about it. You have to have seen it, witnessed it, something of that nature. And as I've said, I mean, I've seen some racist people in my life, But at the same time, do I think that the United States as a whole is systemically racist? No. And if we are systemically racist, I did want to throw this out, it's on both sides. It's not on one side only. If that's really the case, if that's really the factual information, that the United States is systemically racist, well, guess what? Then it's systemically racist on both sides. Because I've witnessed racism on both ends of the spectrum. So, where do we draw the line? That's really what it comes down to with that. Where do we draw the line? Is the country racist or is it not? And if it is racist, well, guess what? It's an even swap. We really have to start thinking about this as a country. Because it's like, I mean, it's getting to that headway where everything is called racist. Everything. So I feel as a white heterosexual male these days, as a conservative Republican, I'm just going to start calling everything racist too. Seeing how it's usually the left that calls everything racist. Okay, well, guess what? I'm going to start doing the same thing. But I'm going to start calling everything that people say against white heterosexual males racist. Let's see what happens. More than likely, I'm probably getting into a bunch of arguments, a bunch of fights. I'm not scared. But at the same time, I refuse to be called racist just by the color of my skin. Just because I might have a different set of views and values than you do. That's stupid. Ignorant. And I hate ignorance. Alright, well, I'll be right back with our next two topics. These are going to be really good. One is going to be a famous host of a children's show. And the other one is going to be our awesome governor. So I'll be right back. Alright, everybody, I'm back. And we're going to get to our last two topics, and then I'm going to cut this one, as short as I can make it. I am one of those people that when I find specific topics, I do want to elaborate on them. I want to give factual information, statistical information, things of that nature, and I feel that that's important. Okay, as of recent, Levar Burton, one of my childhood heroes, okay, when I was a kid, I watched Reading Rainbow all the time. Thought it was great. He would read books to us. You know what I mean? And not only that, but I'm also a Star Trek Trekkie. So, yeah, he was Geordi on The Next Generation. As far as I was concerned, really cool guy. Still going to say he's probably a really cool guy. Just really don't like where his mind's at. Okay? And he goes on The View, which, first of all, is a show that I absolutely despise. I used to actually think Whoopi Goldberg was, one, an extremely talented comedian, and also a pretty good actress. She was also on The Next Generation. But she's absolutely left crazy. So, anyway, that being said, Levar Burton makes a View appearance, and it seems like he's doing it over Zoom or something like that, and he says cancel culture is misnamed as it should be consequential culture. Okay, basically what he was specifying, because I wish I could play the video, but I don't have that much technology, I'm sorry. This is pretty low budget. If you're watching this is pretty low budget. Okay, but basically what he was doing is he's making the speculation on the idea that it's okay that if you had a tweet from 6 years ago that may seem somewhat racist and you were a teenager back then, okay, that you could have your life destroyed by cancel culture. He's saying there's consequences for the actions that you did in your past. I don't agree with this. I mean, yes, I understand that, guess what? There can be consequences for what you've done in your past. But do I believe that if you've left that past behind you and moved forward in your life, and now you're actually a successful person, you're doing well for yourself. Maybe you're following your career, maybe you're, doing exactly what you intended to do in life. I don't believe that you should be smeared, slandered, or basically destroyed in culture because of some stupid comment you made years ago. Okay,